Oh. Holy Toledo, this is amazing. Good morning, Austria. Live from San Francisco. By the way, there's something really interesting about doing a conference in Austria. I've spoken in thousands of conferences. Last September, I was at the World Economic Forum, and I was awarded a Technology Pioneer Award. And they had a speaker room, they gave you food, they gave you water, got you all prepared, etc. But this is the first time ever in every conference that I've been to where I've spoken, keynote or not keynote, where they had a bottle of Jägermeister outside. And Red Bull. Thank you, Red Bull, by the way. Amazing. It's like, let me go and start this off right. Anyway, quick introduction. Thank you very much backstage for the introduction. My name again is Yobie Benjamin. I'm co-founder of Avegant Corporation. Before this, I had a day job before I decided to become an entrepreneur again. And I did run Citigroup worldwide as a global chief technology officer. And people always ask me, why would you leave a job where you had a $16 billion budget and go to a job where you're trying to figure out how to fly in coach? And the reason is, I've always been interested in doing things that nobody else has ever done. And Avegant is something that's never been done. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of three-dimensional imaging. When we started three-dimensional imaging, it was basically paper. How many people here remember taking pieces of paper, watching a dumb movie, and going like, this is really bad. It's a really bad experience. And so, in this really bad experience, this actually started in 1952. So, has an industry, has something that people want, we've tried this since 1952. It's an old technology. Thank you, Red Bull, again. Today, virtual reality is a little different. When you look at the history, and what I've done here is I've put together most of the virtual technology gadgets out there. Konica, sorry you're not here. If you're here, please, happy to put your slide here next time. I just saw that they had one. But let me walk you through some of these. Just on the top left, that is the Sony Morpheus. The Sony Morpheus weighs 4 pounds. So in kilos, that's a little, I don't know, 1.5 kilo or something, putting it on your head. So you put something 1.5 kilo over your head. And by the way, you're fully covered. This is the difference, right? Again, virtual reality, fully immersive, your eyes are covered 100%. You cannot see your hands, you cannot see your sides, you cannot look up, you cannot look down. And there's a reason why this is a target. Sony wanted to target the serious gamer market. And they have a platform. They have the Sony PlayStation. So that makes it very interesting for them. Of course, the other one that's more interesting is the Oculus, which was bought by Facebook for a few billion. Again, the interesting thing about the Oculus is it actually covers your eyes completely. And basically, the Oculus, to describe it to you, is basically 2 of these in front of your eyes like that. So you take 2 of these and you put it in front of your eyes and you do that. You're fully covered, fully immersed. And then, of course, Samsung said, you know, we want one too. So what did they do? They licensed the Samsung, the Oculus, and what that gear thing there on the upper left is basically you drop a Samsung phone in there. But again, you're fully immersed, fully covered. Then there's a great German company called Zeiss, and you can see their product. They're the one that looks white. The interesting thing about the Zeiss is they use high quality screens, the ones that you see on broadcast cameras. The problem is when you use those screens, they're very expensive. So the cheapest they can make this is like something like $800. And you can buy it on Amazon if you want, but it's about 800 euros, $800. Then, of course, my favorite is Google Cardboard. You basically buy a pizza box. After you get the pizza box, you go to Google, you download the drawing, and you do it, and there you go. And then you drop your phone in there again. No audio. No audio, just video, not very high resolution. So this is the state of virtual reality. What we do in Avegant is not, and I repeat, we are not a virtual reality company. Let me talk a little bit about augmented reality, different from virtual reality. I happen to be involved also in a company called Scully. If you check us out at scullysystems.com, you will know that I just raised $2.5 million on Indiegogo. And by the way, for Avegant, I raised $1.5 million on Kickstarter. So, thank you. The interesting thing about augmented reality is you have your real world in front of you, and we're giving you data. In the case of the Scully, we tell you your speed, your telemetry, your direction, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Google Glass, by the way, you can't order it anymore because I think they stopped making it. There was a lot of problems in Google Glass, and everybody here, since you're all techies, kind of know that the privacy issues with Google Glass have become a real problem. In the US, it is banned in many bars and restaurants. They just say, no Google Glass. And the reason is people don't like the idea of like you coming in and you obviously are, not obviously, they think you're videotaping them or taking a recording. In Europe, which is far more sensitive to privacy, in the UK, they totally banned it. You cannot be driving a car in the UK with Google Glass. It doesn't work. You're going to get a ticket. So, what is Avegant? What is the Glyph? Part of the reason why we decided to do the Glyph was we began to see a convergence between video and data and audio. And if you look at your phone, you have a device there that's called the Lightning connector, if you have an iPhone, or a micro HDMI. I was going to bring a new slide, but they said it was too late to add the slide. But what that means, using one cable, literally one cable, you can have audio, video, data, and power. So the notion of you having to go out and have a cable for a cable. By the way, this is the interesting thing about the Sony Morpheus. A little back to that. If you play with the Sony Morpheus, you need, not only is it like almost like 4 pounds, you have to have 4 wires. One connected to the PlayStation, one connected to a power supply, one connected to an audio device, and I don't even know what the other one is. Sounds like a controller cord. This convergence of video, data, audio and power is a very powerful paradigm. And before I go there, let me quickly demonstrate to you guys what we mean by this. Now, I have to apologize in that we couldn't bring the actual production device here. And you guys kind of know the reason, you know, it's not like we're pretending to be Apple and trying to be Apple with secrecy, etc. The timing was just not correct. That said, I brought in the alpha prototype to demonstrate to you the concept, right? So the concept behind the Glyph is very simple. You know, it's a headset, and then HD television. So it's a very simple concept. This ergonomic design is actually pretty revolutionary. Much of the work, and I can tell you what we're doing right now, much of the work that we're doing right now is taking the band, which is over here, and miniaturizing it even more and more and more. We're taking what we call the cups and miniaturizing it even more and more and more. But the core concept behind the Avegant Glyph is the same. You have audio, video, and sensors. The ear is actually the most sensitive part of the body. What can I do with the ear? I can put what's called pulse ox sensors, pulse and oxygen sensors, which we're doing, which basically tells me what your pulse rate is, what your oxygen level is in your blood. We have what is called galvanic sensors. Galvanic sensors are like temperature. So I know ambient temperature, the surrounding temperature, and your body temperature. We also have the ability to go and look at your the number of times that you blink. So we have blink counters. And the interesting thing is we look at pupil dilation. Your pupil dilates, gets bigger, gets smaller. Are you afraid? Your pupil goes wide, you're relaxed, it goes smaller. So we have these things, these biofeedback mechanisms that are bilateral. What do I mean by bilateral? It means that you can, if you choose to do so, you can interact with the provider of the content, whether it's another person or a content provider like a movie producer, music television. So the thing, we're working with content partners right now, interestingly enough, and the way we're doing it is like a particular movie can have like 12 different outcomes, or a game can have like 150 outcomes. And depending on how you feel, and the way we extrapolate that is taking all your physiological data, we can now go and say, we're going to present you this content, or that ending, or this twist in the plot. So, we call, because everybody has to go to branding exercises, right? You have AR, augmented reality, and so we call ourselves escape reality. I'm not the marketing expert here, I'm only the software engineer. So, but what does that mean? Again, what it means is like, it's both an audio device and a video device and a data device. Primarily sold, by the way, as an audio headset. It's very important to figure out how you're going to sell in the marketplace. It's really, really hard to go out and sell a virtual retinal display, simply because you have to explain it. A headphone, you don't really have to explain what a headphone does.
Avegant Glyph takes advantage of a virtual retinal display. to transmit vivid, lifelike images directly to the eye. The image begins with a low-powered LED. After passing through a first set of optics, the light is reflected off a micro-mirror array, 2 million mirrors that shape the light into an image fit for the eye. The stream is then focused through a second set of optics and projected directly onto the retina, mimicking the way we receive light reflected off objects in our everyday environment. Glyph creates an image of extraordinary clarity, sharper and more realistic than current conventional display technologies, in a more natural way, without a screen. Enhance movies, gaming, or any media of your choice. Simply turn it on and enjoy the show.
That's a very simple explanation. And let me explain to you some of the entrepreneurial decisions we made. We looked at the Oculus Rift, right? And we realized one of the things that is the hardest thing to do in any new environment is building an ecosystem. You got to have a software development kit, you got to have an API, you got to create new content, then you have to have distributors, then you have to convince people to write new content, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what we did was, I think, pretty ingenious. Our device works with any content that exists today. Works with any movie, works with any video, works with any device, works with your PlayStation, works with your television set, your videotape recorder, your computer, your iPhone, your iPad, your Android. It works with everything. And the reason why we believed that that was the right thing to do is we could not justify the amount of money it will take to build out an ecosystem so large and to convince people, you know, if you buy this headset, you might be able to play 2 games. That, to us, was a losing proposition. Now, when you buy this headset, you can play everything from League of Legends to any game on the PlayStation, any game on the Xbox, play any music video, and it is your computer monitor. One of the things that you will notice in the device is it doesn't cover your face 100%. And what that means is you can be on a plane, you're listening to music, you bring it down, you want full privacy on your screen because you're doing something not so nice, but you can still see your keyboard. You see your keyboard, you see your mouse, you can see the drink table passing by and say, "Excuse me, stewardess," or "Can I please have a drink?" The reason why we did this, by the way, is because of our heritage. I failed to mention that we started as a military company. We were asked by Special Operations Command, otherwise known as the Navy SEALs, to build an ocular device for use in combat for targeting. But you can't put an Oculus Rift on a Navy SEAL. It doesn't work. It's not a game. So you have to be able to see your weapon system when you bring it down. You can see your weapon system. You can target. You can paint. Painting means painting a target, and then release the command, fire, and do everything, lift it up. So this was, and basically the reason why we moved from the military away was because in the US we had this thing called the sequester. For those of you familiar with US politics, it means that there were budget battles in our legislature. So we decided, forget doing the military, we're just going to do consumer, and this is how we ended up with a consumer version of the product. It goes anywhere you want to go. It's going to be, our target weight right now is, we're now to 12 ounces, which is not so heavy. Wanted to tell you a little bit about how we went to this. We started out in a desk about the size of this thing. It's a huge desk, and you can see it over there. Then we moved it over to, that was we called our first, our cyborg model. And by the way, the old Alpha had I don't know, 4 wires going into it. We've concentrated it to 1 wire right now. And it's not going to be this big anymore As you can see from the picture on our first industrial designs, it fits like a regular headphone. One cord, all media. We're going to come out on March next year. Thank you very much. I'd like to open it up for question and answers. Anybody who wants to ask a question, feel free. You can ask me about this or any other thing that you want to ask.
How much will it cost? Come here, you can see it here.
The cost is about, we're going to probably bring it down to $400, which is the price of a Beats headset. Upper end Beats bed is about $400, and so it'll be competitive. So you're going to have to make a choice of buying a headset which does only audio, or you buy a headset which does audio and video at the same price.
And there is a second question, is how's the battery capacity?
That is a great question. Battery is targeted right now at 3 hours. That is very conservative. I think we can bring it to 4 hours. I'm fairly sure we can bring it to 4.
And then there was one question, because we're running out of time, is can we try it?
Unfortunately, today would not be the day, but the reason is fairly simple. As I tried to explain in the beginning, we're in that critical stage where we're merging the industrial design and the mechanical and optical design. And, you know, but I really wanted to go to Austria. I really wanted to hang out with the guys in Pioneers. How are you going to balance it on your head? Oh, actually, there's a couple of ways to balance it on your head. We could actually put a little strap over here. It's a very lightweight strap that clicks and balances on your head. It depends on your head size and your head configuration. With certain head configurations, you don't really need to have the set. Is the light from below or side not irritating? No, it's not. It's not at all. When you have, by the way, an Oculus Rift and you wear glasses, as they say in the United States, you're SOL.
What's SOL?
Shit out of luck.
Shit out of luck. That's
charming. Because our device allows you to correct for your vision from +2 for nearsightedness, from farsightedness, to -6.5. So if you have myopia, it works. You don't need your glasses. And each one is.
And here was one more question. When are you shipping?
We're
so
shipping.
When are you shipping?
We're going to have, well, shipping will be mid-year of next year, but by March next year, we're going to do a major road show where people can touch, feel, and test the product by March next year. By mid-year of next year, we expect to be shipping.
And then one more question is, so what's the ideal weight for the head wearings? And we'll do one last question.
What do you mean head wearing?
Head wearings. I have no idea, actually.
All I can tell you, it's just like a headset. You know, it's like your headphone. Put it on and it's done.
And the last question is, how long can you watch it? Will it hurt your eyes?
No, I've tried it I've watched 2 movies on it, and you know what? I can still see all the beautiful people in Austria.
Thank you so much. Make some noise for Yobie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.